What is going on, everybody? SchwayZ here, and in today's video we are at the Jerry Seiner Cadillac because I am having a first look at the all-new Cadillac LYRIQ. We're going to give you a quick exterior, interior look and talk about some of the specs. So without further ado, let's get started. First, I want to extend a huge thank you to Jerry Seiner Cadillac here in downtown Salt Lake City for giving me the opportunity to review this vehicle for you all today. If you guys are in the market for any new vehicle, they actually have GM, Chevy, Kia, a lot of different vehicles under their brand. Make sure you reach out to them. I'm going to put their information down in the description below. Let them know that SchwayZ sent you. Okay, so here is the Cadillac LYRIQ, and it's kind of cool seeing this vehicle for the first time in person. It's bigger than you would think. It's actually a pretty large SUV, even though this is considered a compact crossover. But starting off with the exterior styling, the front end, you can see these are all LED lights, and they look really cool. I can't imagine how it looks when it's lit up, but this is kind of the display model. This whole grille is supposed to be pretty much lit up when you're driving at night, and you do have that front camera over here. This is kind of a modernized version of the Cadillac emblem, and the front end looks very menacing, looks pretty different and cool, and kind of is an evolution of the art and science design that Cadillac has been known for the last decade or two. Coming up along the hood, you have these body lines that kind of form into that grille, into the front fascia, and kind of extend down into the grille as well, giving it a really cool look. And I particularly like it under this lighting because it really just shines. It's like what you expect a Cadillac to look like. Coming over to the side, you do have some black plastic outlining the mold of the wheel well, which looks really nice. And then by pushing this button, you will open up the charging port. Now, this vehicle, again, is a display model, so you're not going to see that. Coming over to the side, these are the door handles that are actually recessed, but by pushing them, the door will open up. And similar to a Mustang Mach-E, you won't be able to close it by pushing in. You have to open it, and then the little peg that holds the door in actually folds back in. So that's how you open and close it. Same with the rear door as well, same type of operation, except you actually have to reach back here. There's a pad over here to be able to grab onto it and reach in. So that's how it looks like on the interior. But overall, a pretty unique design over there. Coming to the back, this is where it gets kind of interesting because you have your LED tail light actually wrap into the body in the rear fender, and giving it kind of this dual appearance where you have this painted color over here and then over here separated by the tail light. And coming over to the back, you have the sloping roof line, giving it a really aerodynamic look to it. You have this cool LED tail light similar to the front end. These all light up at night, giving it a really just futuristic look to it. I think that's kind of the best way to summarize the LYRIQ. Now, this is the 450e, which is just has to do with the Newton meters of torque, and this is the rear-wheel drive version. So currently they only offer the rear-wheel drive, but an all-wheel drive will be coming out here probably sometime here in 2023. Rear parking sensors, a lot of that piano black plastic, giving it the shiny, cool-looking appearance, and that pretty much finishes off the rear end. Real quick, I will mention these wheels. These are actually 22-inch wheels, and they're 275 wide millimeter tires. So they have a pretty cool design to them. They kind of have this ribbed pattern to them in between the spokes. I'm sure that's for aerodynamics, but again, just some nice touches here that's separated from a lot of the other crossover electric vehicles on the market. Now let's jump inside and let's show you what that looks like, because I think that is what really separates this vehicle from the competition. Starting off with the door panel, this is all a soft touch material all throughout, which is expected for a Cadillac. And then take a look at these lighting over here, how it kind of perforated through the wood paneling. Really, really cool. And even these buttons over here on the knobs, they're all covered in this nice aluminum material to it. You do have heated and ventilated seats, and then the door handle is pretty cool too, because this actually lifts up to be able to exit and enter the vehicle. The speaker grille is beautiful as well. This is reminiscent of what you find in Mercedes products and stuff like that. So definitely didn't skimp out on any of the materials over here in this vehicle. You do have a little cup holder over here, and this is your trunk release button, but the door panel is just gorgeous. Now coming inside, the seats are no different either. I mean, you have this speaker grills located inside of the headrest. That's kind of unique and different. And then you have this nice line running down below into the seat cushion at the bottom. One thing to mention is there's a lot of blue accents inside of the vehicle. So you do have a blue accent line over here in the seats, and then other touches inside the vehicle, like this part over here has some blue accents. So I think blue is kind of the theme for the LYRIQ. And the seats just look really, really nice with that perforation and the way the headrest looks. And then Jumping inside, wow, these seats are incredibly comfortable. It's like a seat cushion on a couch. Looking at the steering wheel, lots of buttons over here, and these are all touch capacitive buttons on the left and right hand side, so you do have a heated steering wheel. This is your cruise control functions. Over here is how you control your center screen, and this is your phone and audio buttons over here on the right hand side of the screen. You do have Chevy's Super Cruise system over here in the LYRIQ, which is kind of your hands-free self-driving on certain roads on the highway. You have a little sensor over here to watch your eyes to make sure you're still paying attention to the road. These turn stalks are also really nice. They kind of have an aluminum bezel around them, both for the left and right side. This controls your headlights along with your windshield wipers as well. Over here on the left hand side, this is where you have some of your safety feature information. So you have your parking brake, your lane centering, your auto hold, and then the display light. And then take a look at these vents. They're really interesting. You can actually, open and close the vents using this little knob over here, and that's also how you position where the airflow is coming from. So rather than having to deal with the vent itself, you use this little knob. Really interesting there. And take a look at this aluminum that actually wraps all the way around behind the screen and then comes over to here. And again, you have a little bit more of that aluminum and this giant center vent. It's kind of hard to see in the lighting here, but this is a major vent over here that you can regulate using this little knob. Let's talk about this screen real quick, because I've kind of nodded at it. It's actually a 33-inch diagonal screen, and it's all one screen. So a lot of other automakers separate them between the two. This is one continuous screen, and it's actually curved. So this is, I want to say, one of the first in the industry. Maybe the Lucid is maybe the only other one that has something similar, but this is a giant curved screen, and you actually have like 3 separate sections to it. So you have a touchscreen over here to control some of the items on the left hand side. You've got obviously your instrument gauge cluster over here, and then your infotainment over here. And unfortunately, I can't turn this vehicle on, but you can see all 3 when you're lighting this car up, and that is a very unique, I think that's a big selling point over here. You do have some buttons over here for your climate control. This is a mini screen over here as well. I've shown this off in kind of other Cadillac products. Really simple to use, pretty easy. You push these buttons to regulate the air temperature, airflow, etc. They're a little bit on the plastic side, but they don't feel too bad. Again, this isn't kind of the priority here. I think this screen is kind of the main thing to focus on. And then back here, I do want to mention this is all soft touch material as well. Even over here, this is kind of a rubberized material near the back, but it's not a hard touch plastic. So gone are the days of GM hard touch plastics in Cadillac vehicles. Over on the passenger side, again, one giant vent, same kind of situation here where you can kind of open it and move it with this little joystick over here. And there's a look at the passenger door panel. Looks really, really nice. And the passenger seat is just as nice as the driver's. Coming over here, this is kind of where Cadillac talks about its Cadillac jewelry. And you can see there's just a lot of appointments here. I mean, everything from the switches on the door panel to this little controller knob over here that you can control different things on the screen. And then even this volume switch gear over here, look at that. It has kind of a almost like a crystal look to it, even though it's not. It's just aluminum, and it feels pretty good. And you have a little bit more of that aluminum going around the cup holder. This is an adjustable compartment over here. So by pushing this down, you can open up the space, maybe put like a cell phone in here, or you can push this button and separate the 2 compartments. I really like that. You have a little bit more of that same wood that's on the door panel. Here it's not perforated, but it still looks really nice. Again, some more capacitive touch buttons for your quick access controls. And this is kind of a floating stack. As you can see over here, there is separation, and that's just kind of the advantage of having an electric vehicle. Down over here, you do have a compartment where you can put like a purse or a wallet or just a large storage bin, which is nice to have. You do have this aluminum bezel over here if my camera can focus, and that's actually where you have your USB port as well. And what's interesting is it does say Cadillac over here on the aluminum bezel, which is kind of nice in case you forgot you're driving a Cadillac. Notice you do have ambient lighting all around this bin down at the bottom, and that is adjustable on the screen. You can go through a lot of different ambient lighting choices, and that's one of the advantages of having this LYRIQ, is they're really doing a lot of customization, and a lot of software is built into this system, along with the Google Assistant. So this is something I reviewed in the GMC AT4X, but you can have your Google Assistant, tell you lots of different information, just like you would with your Google Home device or your Alexa device. Coming over here in the center arm compartment, you do have a wireless charger over here where you can just place your phone and it will simply charge the device. And then you do have a little micro USB port over here as well, which is nice in case your phone does not have wireless charging. Moving up, you do have a rear camera mirror. You do have your lighting controls over here, your OnStar, and then your hazards. And then this is kind of the creme de la creme. It's just a giant glass panel roof. This isn't the only car that has it, but I really like that they included that here. here because it just makes a vehicle's interior look that much more premium and nice. Now there is kind of poor visibility out the back just because that roof line is so sloped, but it does add to the exterior appearance, and you do have this camera mirror to be able to assist with a rear visibility. Now let's jump in the back and let's show you what that looks like. Okay, jumping into the back, just as nice of a place to be as the front. Again, a little bit more of that soft touch material, that perforated leather with the ambient lighting, nice speaker grills, same type of door handle where you just pull up on it. You do have your lock and unlock buttons, which is uncommon to have in a second row of a vehicle. A little bit more of that speaker grill, more speakers down here, and another cup holder. Coming into the seats, again, a little bit more of that blue accent. The same styling of seats as the front row, except you don't have speaker grills located in the headrest. You do have this large center armrest over here that folds down with 2 cup holders. I gotta say, the width of this vehicle is wider than I would expect from a even mid-size crossover, because this is easily able to fit another adult. The legroom's a little bit more compromised for the center, but it is larger than what I would expect for a middle row in a second row crossover. Jumping inside, one of the major advantages of an electric vehicle is just the amount of storage space and legroom. I mean, take a look at that legroom. This is kind of like rivals Mercedes S-Class or BMW 7 Series level of legroom. It's just massive. And take a look at the seat back. I mean, this is going to be one of the most interesting seat backs I've actually ever seen. You do have map pockets over here behind the passenger and driver's side, and then closing the door panel. Yeah, this is a very wide vehicle. You can definitely tell that sitting in the second row. This can easily fit 3 adults back here. You do have rear air vents, kind of a weird little compartment above the air vents. And then down here you do have 2 USB ports. You do have a household power adapter, and then a little bit more of that aluminum bezel that's almost not visible from where you're seated, but it does say Cadillac over here. Kind of an interesting design to this rear console, but you do have a little bit of a cutaway over here. If you want to put your legs here, you should be fine. Luckily, there is no middle hump, so that gives you a little bit more access into the second row. And here's one more look at the roof. It just looks gorgeous, especially in the second row, just looking out into the sky. And lastly, let's take a look at the trunk. So by pushing the button, the trunk will actually open. That's kind of unique, where you hit the emblem to open it up. And even though it's not very, I guess, tall, like you wouldn't fit a large object over here because of that sloping roof line, it is very long. It's quite a massive amount of space, and that's just because they've extended the rear of the vehicle so large that you know, a lot of that space is in the cargo area. Down below here, you do have a little bit more storage space. This is almost the same size as like the C8 Corvette, which is kind of funny. And then you do have a safety latch over here. If you pull on it twice, you will open the hood of the vehicle if you need access to that. The last thing to mention is you do have automatic left and right seat second row fold down options, and then you can actually fold this little tonneau cover over here in the back and store it out of place. So that is a benefit of having such a long trunk, is you can actually fit your tonneau cover and not actually have to store it in the garage. You do have some lighting over here in the back, and then an automatic button to close. That pretty much finishes off the exterior and the interior of the Cadillac LYRIQ. Okay, to finish off this video, I do want to talk about the warranty and some of the pricing and specs of this vehicle. So GM does offer an 8-year, 100,000-mile warranty on the battery. So in case you're worried about that, with this being one of the early electric vehicles from Cadillac, that should cover your concerns about the warranty and reliability. Next thing I want to mention is what kind of setup you have here. So this being the 450, like I mentioned earlier, is a rear-wheel drive version, and that produces 340 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. The all-wheel drive version that will be coming out later this year is said to have about 500 horsepower. 0 to 60 in this rear-wheel drive version is 6.2 seconds, so definitely no slouch. It's not the quickest of the electric vehicle competitors, but it's not slow by any means either. Now, I do briefly want to talk about charging. GM does offer a level 2 charging system at home, where this will charge up to 52 miles per hour, which will get you from about 0 to full in about 8 hours if you charge at night. Now, this does come with DC fast charging capability as well, so you are able to charge this quicker if you're going on a road trip. One more thing to mention about this vehicle is it does have 312 miles of range, so pretty competitive to some of the other vehicles on the market. And the last thing to mention is pricing, which is pretty competitive here as well. Sometimes better than some of the competition. You're looking at a starting price of around $63,000. Well, there you have it, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed today's quick little video. It definitely wasn't as detailed as some of my other reviews, but this was just a display model, and I only had like 10 minutes with it. So I figured I'd just give you kind of the lowdown, and that way if I ever get this vehicle in the future, I can give you a much more detailed review. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all of the weekly car videos. And as always, everybody, I hope you stay SchwayZ, stay healthy, have a wonderful day.